The easiest profit most stores skip is skipping over the simple action of selling after you sell. I'll unpack what I mean by this in this video and show you an AI tool we built to help us capture more of this profit. Here's what I mean. We currently have a brand in our program doing about 370 grand a month on a little over 3,000 orders a month right now. But on that 370K, they're doing right now $0 in post-purchase upsell revenue. And for clarity, the post-purchase revenue I'm talking about is in the same order session where they transact at checkout and then go through a structured sequence of subsequent offers. And this right here is where you'll make the easiest profit. So as I said earlier, this brand is doing about 3K orders a month. Assuming we look just at upsell number one over here on 3,000 orders a month, if upsell number one converts at 10% at an AOV of $80, which is down from the front end AOV of about $100, this yields, assuming a COGS of $40, 12 grand in extra contribution margin every month. And when you multiply that across 12 months, that's going to be 144 grand. You can do a lot with 144 grand. You can use it to reinvest in inventory. You can pull it out to take home. You can put a down payment on a house. There's a lot of things you can do. And then when we factor in downsells, so just downsell number one, which typically converts lower than upsells, assuming a 5% conversion rate on it at an AOV of $60 and a COGS of 30, that backs out to an extra $4,500 a month in contribution margin. And over a year, 54 grand. Again, pretty juicy. So if you are spending to acquire customers at scale and generating 3,000 orders a month, and they're already saying yes to the front end offer, you have basically already paid the price of admission. The hard part is done. It's kind of like going to a buffet and knowing you're going to pay full price for dinner and then only getting a single plate of salad and calling it a day, skipping everything else that the restaurant has to offer and dessert. You already paid to be there. You might as well capture more value for what you paid for. And with e-com, if you already paid to acquire the customer at checkout or the order, even if it's a repeat order, you might as well offer them more stuff to maximize profit. And this is especially important if your LTV doesn't grow meaningfully. As an example, here's cohort data from another brand where you can see over a 12-month period on 12,000 customers served. From first order, the value goes from $59 when it comes to what people spend to $68 by the end of the year. It's about a 15% increase, which is not that much and is why being profitable as much as you can on first order and every order is critical. Because unlike brands that see their LTV grow by 80% in a year, like with supplements and consumables, the profit you stand to gain on the back end over time, especially with brands like this, isn't as meaningful, relatively speaking. And on top of this, behavioral studies show that the moment right after a purchase is when trust and dopamine are at their peak. The customer is emotionally validated and more open to buying again than at any other point in the relationship. It's before the buyer's remorse kicks in. And to me, the solution to making profit along here is not necessarily just the tactics, but instead, I think it's something bigger, which is understanding and valuing the magnitude of the impact that it can make. I think we place a disproportionate amount of attention on acquisition and not enough attention on monetization, because it's hard to conceptualize the impact of small levers like this portion of your funnel and how they can drive nonlinear results for the effort that you put in. It might take you something like 20 hours a week on ad creatives to generate 3,000 front end orders a month. That yields something like 52 grand in contribution margin if you're doing 370 grand in top line sales. While it may only take you an hour or two to work on this portion of the funnel, that can yield something like 16 grand a month in contribution margin. It might psychologically feel a little too good to be true. And so then we have a bias on working on just acquisition and overvaluing our effective hourly rate there, because it can feel really productive to focus on acquisition because it's definitely important. And there's a lot there to wrestle with, which makes it feel like we're making progress. But when we couple that with the fact that monetizing on the back end feels a little bit less exciting, we have to remember that this is where the bigger money is made relative to the effort that you're putting in. And to solve this problem of what I consider a problem of perspective, I like forecasting things out on the potential impact using an AI tool that we built so that we can put things in perspective, which then opens up our intention to drive the process. And it's really simple to use. All we do is click the button that says forecast my profit, and then it's going to walk you through a series of questions around the AOV and COGS that you plan to use at different stages of the upsells and downsells. Then it spits out for you what you stand to gain at different discount intake rates. So a 5% conversion rate at a 50% discount, or on the higher end, a 30% take rate at a 10% discount rate, to see what ranges you could experience when it comes to the additional profit or contribution margin that you could be earning. And it doesn't stop there. The magic starts to happen when you start collaborating with it to do some scenario planning on numbers that you're interested in or make sense to you. So as a follow-up, I asked over here, what if upsell one converts at 15% at a $100 AOV and a $40 COGS? It ends up telling me what I can expect in monthly contribution margin added, assuming the order numbers are the same. And again, you can tweak these by collaborating with it as a follow-up. And then again, I asked, what if the discount rate was 20% instead? And at this rate, it's telling me 18 grand in additional contribution margin and how the numbers would back out. I'd say that selling after you sell is the easiest profit you can make, but it can be the hardest to act on because it's a matter of perspective and not as much process. Once you realize your effective hourly rate on working on this portion of the funnel is outsized, you'll be motivated to act on it. And if you want to try out the tool and all our other AI tools and frameworks, you can check out the first link in the description below. And now that you can profit more on the back end, you should watch this video next to see how we build an AI agent that helps with scaling up your winning ads to drive more traffic through the system to maximize the back end that you just optimized.